So, what does it really take to conquer not just one, but three completely different worlds? Bodybuilding, Hollywood, politics. Today, we're unlocking the success blueprint of the man who did it, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we're going straight to the source, using his own words to break down the principles that took a kid from a tiny Austrian village and turned him into a global icon. Let's get into it.
This quote right here, this is pretty much the engine that powered Arnold's entire life. It's this mindset that takes a mountain that looks impossible to climb and turns it into just the next target. He literally built his legacy on doing things everyone, and I mean everyone, said couldn't be done. So what's the secret sauce? Well, it all kicks off with rule number 1.
For Arnold, this isn't just some nice piece of advice. No, it's everything. He says, without a crystal clear vision, all the hard work in the world doesn't matter. You're just spinning your wheels. You have to be able to see the goal, to feel it in your mind, long before you can ever actually get there. Okay, just pause and really think about that for a second. You're 15 years old. You're in this tiny village in post-war Austria, and you announce to everyone, yeah, I'm going to be the best bodybuilder on the planet. A sport that at the time was totally dominated by Americans. It sounded absolutely bonkers. But his vision was so clear, so real to him, that what other people thought just didn't register.
And this is where you can see how that vision drove his every move. It wasn't just some daydream. It was his daily, non-negotiable schedule. He goes from 1 hour a day to an insane 5 hours a day while he's serving in the military. That relentless focus leads him to become the youngest Mr. Universe in history, at just 20 years old. So much for impossible, right?
But of course, one impossible dream wasn't enough for him. The moment Arnold set his sights on Hollywood, his big vision ran smack into a giant wall of negativity. And that brings us to his second rule. You have to develop the mental toughness to just block out that noise.
This was the question that agents and casting directors literally laughed at, seriously. In their eyes, everything that made Arnold, was a career-killing flaw. They told him flat out he had zero chance. His body was too weird, his accent was too thick, and his last name, a total marketing nightmare. And this is what's so incredible. He systematically took every single one of those so-called liabilities and turned them into his most iconic assets. The director of Conan the Barbarian basically said, "Your body is perfect for this role." The director of The Terminator said the line, "I'll be back," would be totally forgettable without his unique accent. And that name, Schwarzenegger, it became one of the most famous names on the entire planet.
And there you have it, straight from the man himself. Trusting his own vision over everyone else's doubts didn't just bring him success, it brought him legendary, multi-career dominance. It's a huge lesson for any of us facing doubt. You have to believe in your vision, especially when no one else does.
Okay, this next idea is a really powerful lesson in humility, and it totally shatters one of the biggest myths we have in our culture. We all look at Arnold as the perfect example of a self-made man, but you know what? It's a label he absolutely hates.
We all know this story, right? The lone wolf, the solo genius who pulls themselves up by their own bootstraps. It sounds awesome. It's a great story. But according to Arnold, it's a complete fantasy.
And he is dead serious about this. For him, accepting that title of self-made man would be like erasing every single person who ever gave him a helping hand. He feels like it's not just wrong, it's actually disrespectful to them.
Because when you look at the reality, his success was built on a massive foundation of support. It started with his parents, who gave him discipline, then the bodybuilders in his hometown who taught him the ropes, his mentors in Germany, Joe Whiter, who brought him to America and paid for his first apartment, and then the 5 million people who voted to make him a governor. Success is a team sport. Nobody, and he means nobody, gets to the top all by themselves. And this brings us to the final and, maybe the most profound piece of his entire blueprint. After he achieved all the fame, all the fortune, Arnold had a realization that the whole definition of success he'd been chasing was just completely wrong.
Yeah, he thought winning Mr. Olympia titles and making millions was the finish line. That's what a lot of us think, right? But then he got this moment of unexpected clarity when he was asked to help out with the Special Olympics. And that one experience would completely change his entire purpose in life.
So, get this. He tells this story about a young athlete who was supposed to bench press 40 pounds. The boy gets on the bench, takes one look at the weight, and just starts screaming. He jumps up, totally terrified. So Arnold calms him down and just tells him, "Hey, just watch your friends for a bit, no pressure."
A little while later, the kid says he wants to try again, so this time Arnold just gives him the empty bar, only 20 pounds. And boom, he does 10 reps, no problem. It was a small win, but that little victory, that was just the spark.
So Arnold asks him, "You want to try some more weight?" The boys answer, a confident yes. They put on the 40 pounds that had terrified him just minutes ago. He crushes it. Then 60 pounds. Then 80. This kid was absolutely on fire, completely unstoppable.
And after every single set, the young athlete would just look up at Arnold and say one powerful word: more. It was the sound of self-confidence being born, right there in that moment.
And for Arnold, that was the real trophy. It was a complete revelation. He realized that true greatness isn't about how many trophies you can lift for yourself, it's about how many people you can lift up. It's a powerful reminder that our greatest achievements might not be our own, but the ones we help inspire in other people.
So after all that, what does it all boil down to? Let's put everything we've just talked about into one final actionable blueprint that you can use for your own goals.
Here it is, the Arnold Blueprint. Number 1, have a crystal clear vision. 2, as he showed us, you have to work your ass off. There are absolutely no shortcuts. 3, ignore the naysayers and trust yourself. 4, and this one is huge, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is just a stepping stone, not a dead end. And finally, number 5, give something back. Find a purpose that's bigger than just you.
Arnold always ends his talks, not with a statement, but with a challenge. It's a call to action. He's basically turning all of these principles right back on us. The blueprint is right here. The only question left is, what are you going to do?